Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Class of 2026 Future Plans Night. I am Patrick Brett, the Future Plans Counselor, North Penn High School. And tonight here is the counselors from F40, the Senior Home Office, Ms. Jessica Turner, who is the front end of the alphabet, Ms. Karen Cantor, who is the middle alphabet, and Ms. Kara Kolb, who is the back half of the alphabet, back third of the alphabet. This can be a very scary time for both seniors and parents. Our job, at least the way I view it, is to help you get through it with the least amount of stress possible. Much easier said than done, okay? First point. Students, this is your future. Not mom and dad's, not your aunt and uncle, not grandma, not grandpa, your future. Every year, I have students come into my office in the Future Plan Center, which I'll tell you where that is for the current time being during this renovation. Hey, Mr. Brett, can I work on my college applications? Absolutely. Grab a seat, log in, let me know when you're logged in, I'll come over and help. Mr. Brett, can I text my mom for my password? Every year, without fail. Please, please be the person driving this ship, car, whatever you want to call it. This is your future. Mom and dad aren't going to college with you, right? At least you hope not. So let's not do that. Parents, I'm not in your shoes yet. I got 7 years left, so I'm here. Please let them do the work. Please let them email us. Please let them come down to the Future Plan Center. I will gladly hold meetings with you and your child, but please let them be the leaders of this. I always hear, but if I don't do it, he or she or they won't. Then your child isn't ready for college yet. Okay? All right. Scary. We're here to help. We're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. This is recorded. Please don't feel the need to take pictures of the slides or anything. We will share it out on the Canvas page for the class of 2026 at some point, either Friday or Monday. All right. So what we're going to talk about tonight up on the screen, types of admissions, score, what comes next, the college's applications themselves, and also NCAA at the very end for our student athletes. Where should you be right now? At this point in time, you should have researched your colleges. If you can visit them, great. You should have 5 to 7 schools on your list, at least, and 2 of them should be schools which you match, safety. You should be able to get in without an issue. Obviously, there's caveats to that. You should have teacher letters of recommendations, at least spoken to them or emailed them. It's a different year. You might have had that teacher in one classroom last year, and they're not in that classroom anymore. An email works perfectly fine in that situation. You must speak to them in person or through email before you request them on score. And again, we'll show you how to do that. Oops. Discuss college cost with your family. College is very, very expensive. The city of Philadelphia happens to have 2 of the most expensive colleges in the country. Drexel University, last year, I haven't double checked this year, but last year was $88,000 a year. It's a lot of money. If you go there for 5 years, it's about $400,000 with their 2 semesters off for the co-op. $400,000 for a college degree is a lot of money. University of Pennsylvania last year was $92,000 a year. 2 schools we can get to that touch each other. We could get there on a train in probably 25, 30 minutes if you're on the express. $400,000 for 4 years of school. Talk to your parents, talk to those who might be helping you out financially with this, and see, is that the right decision, or should we be looking at other options? I know the big name schools or everybody wants to go to those big name schools. But but I can tell you right now, when you're 20 years out of college and you're still paying off college debt, you might look back and say, man, I wish someone would have told me that. All right? And then if your colleges need the SAT or the ACT, you should have taken those, or you're registered to take them. I believe it's this weekend. So there is an October test. Sometimes that gets a little hairy at the end for November 1 deadlines, but SATs, ACTs, if your colleges need them, are a great idea. Okay, if you haven't done any of that, it's okay. It's not too late. That's why we're here. All right? Don't be scared. Don't be worried. We got plenty of seats right here. All right. We have a program called SCORE. It's pronounced. It looks like it's Squire or Scour, I don't know, but it's pronounced SCORE. SCORE for counselors is a document sending program. That's what we use to get your documents to the colleges. Letters of recommendation, transcripts. For the students, it is an application manager and document requesting manager. It shows how to apply. So, am I going to apply through the Common App, or am I going to apply on the college's website, which would be either direct to the institution or college website? You'll request letters of recommendation. You'll view and sign up for college visits right here at North Penn High School, and that's not including our college fair, which is on October 9th. We'll highlight that later. So this is a program that you all have been invited to several times. If you have not gone on yet, your invite has expired. Just shoot me an email, pop in the Future Plan Center, and I'll resend your invite so you can hop on. Your login information is there. You can also log in through Google because we are a Google school, so make sure you do one of those things. Okay, we got some videos I'll kind of go through. So, maybe it's not working. So this is just the front page. I apologize. This is just the front page of Navient, what it looks like. Students, you should see this. Obviously, your name will be up there, not mine. Okay, so there is a thing that you must sign. It's called the FERPA waiver. FERPA, besides being one of the worst acronyms I've ever heard in my life, stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. What that means is that you as a student can say to any of us, I'd like to see my records K through 12 because we house them. We have all your, I think, high school, 8th grade in a spot here. The district hosts them in another spot, holds them in another spot. We have, I believe it's 48 hours to provide them to you either in hard copy or electronic copy. This includes letters of recommendation because even though we house them, we've written them, we've created the document, we've printed out the document, it's yours. What this is going to ask you, what the FERPA waiver is going to ask you is, do you waive your right to see your letters of recommendation? I can't tell you what to do, but I highly recommend that you waive your right. The reason why is for two reasons. One, the colleges see your response. If you waive your right, they don't bat an eye, they just keep on reading. If you don't waive your right, they wonder why. Did you manipulate the letter of recommendation? Did a parent manipulate the letter of recommendation? So they question it. The second reason is if I'm a teacher writing a letter of recommendation and I see that you didn't waive your right, I now have the ability to say, I know I told you before I'd write your letter, but I'm not comfortable with you reading it for whatever reason. I'm gonna take that back and you can find another teacher to write your letter of recommendation. It is not something I can tell you to do. It's something I recommend. At the end of the year, if you are dying to see your letters of rec, you have the right to go up to the teacher and say, hey, I'm already in college. I've applied. I've been accepted. I put my deposit down. Can I see my letter? They may say yes. They may say no. But for now, please, recommendation is to waive your right. All right? This is the video of how to do so in SCORE. So you'll notice you go to the top where your initial is for under me to view profile. This is the legal jargon of what is said, everything I just said, waiving your rights. You click granted, you click sign. It pops up granted. You then go to the waiver of rights, allowing us to send documentation. We physically cannot click a button if you don't. And now that's done. That's how you do it in SCORE. I'm hoping this. Okay. So this is how you will add colleges to your account using Common App. SCORE and Common App are now integrated. So for instance, you'll notice that I clicked Villanova, I clicked Common App, and all I have to do is hit save. Once I hit save, I can now scroll down. You'll see that Villanova is in my list of applying, and it tells me to continue on the Common App. On the Common App at that point, you will log in, you will fill out the profile, or create an account if you haven't done so. You'll fill out the profile. You will then go in and fill out the very beginning part of the profile, complete all that. You must complete the education piece. There are 3 things you need to do to be able to link your SCORE and Common App account. You have to put in that you go to North Penn High School. The important thing about that next question is that even though you were at Penndale, Penfield, or Pembroke, you technically started at North Penn High School in August of 2022, which would be the beginning of your 9th grade year. Again, even though you're at one of the middle schools, you are technically in high school. So you must put that. And then you go down and just fill out the answers. The second thing you must add into SCORE is a school. There's a school search. You add a school. It can be one. From there, you stay on the schools, and you must do the FERPA waiver again. Even though you just did it in SCORE, you must do it in Common App as well. And here is how you link Common App and SCORE. So you go back to the initial and me, view profile. This will be on your account. You click Connect Common App. It'll take you right to Common App. You then log in. Please don't email me at that email. Once you log in, you will have an authorization. You have to authorize the fact that you are connecting your account. Once you click continue, it'll take you back to SCORE. A little glitchy, I apologize. But it shows that you are now connected and your Common App FERPA waiver is waived. Is this the same thing? No. So, here, I mentioned college visits. Sporadically, this week and next, and then the following week, many colleges will be coming to North Penn High School. And they come to the Future Plan Center about 99% of the time. There are certain schools that we have so much interest in, we have to find a spot. It's going to be a little difficult with the renovation, but we're going to try our best. So for instance, on the 22nd, University of Delaware is coming here. That's a really popular school for us. I will do my best to find a bigger spot than cramming everyone into the Future Plan Center. So this is how I'm going to show this again. Maybe. This is how you would register for the visits. There's several ways. Wrong one. We're going to watch it. Oh, there we go. Several ways to do this. If you put a school on your list and they have yet to register, and they register tomorrow for, let's say, October 15th, I'm making a date up, you will get an email stating that they're coming. If they've already registered after you put the schools on there, this is how you get to it. This is how you register. You just click the register button. Okay, a couple things with this. One, if you're in class at this time, I've scheduled them 5 minutes after the beginning of the bell and 5 minutes before the end of the period. You need to do your due diligence and go see the teacher. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, I'm going to go down and see a college in Future Plan Center. I will make up everything that I missed. Now, if you have a test, that's a bigger decision. If you have a test, hey, Mr. Brett, I have a test. I really want to see this school. Listen, go take your test. I'll tell the school that you wanted to be here. I'll get information from them for you. I'll get a card, something along those lines. Because there are schools that track demonstrated interest. Meaning, if myself, Mrs. Cantor, Mrs. Kolb, and Mrs. Turner all apply to a school, and let's say we're North Penn High School students, the three of them go to the visit, or even two of them go to the visit, and one of them says that they're taking a test, and they get a business card with a QR code, and they hit the QR code, and they register and track that they were here. And then at the college fair, they go to the college fair, and they hit the QR code on the table. And then they schedule a visit on the campus. Now they've got 3 checkpoints for that university. I didn't do any of that. I might have gone to the college fair, but I didn't hit the QR code. I might have gone to the campus for something, but I didn't go on to the admissions office or schedule a tour. Let's say, for argument's sake, all of our stuff is equal. There's 3 spots left. They get those 3 spots, and I don't, because the school doesn't think that I care. The school doesn't think that I'm interested. Now, not all schools do that, but there are schools that absolutely do that. If you have a question, ask me. I can tell you. That's why we recommend you coming down to the Future Plan Center and seeing these schools. How else do you continue that as far as hitting checkpoints? College comes to visit. They leave their business card, or they email you their business card, however it's working in this digital world. And then you follow up with an email. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed your presentation. I'm very interested in school, whatever, Lebanon Valley. And you ask them a question to keep the conversation going so that they have to respond. Even if you know the answer to the question, you ask a question so that they respond. Maybe you keep that up for a week or two, a couple weeks. And it's not every day. Maybe every week or 2 weeks you follow it up with an email. The last email is, thank you so much for all of your advice. I'm about to submit my application. Do you have any final words before I do so? 99% of the time, no final words of advice. Thank you so much for letting me know that you're applying. I'll keep my eye out for your application. Now, your name is in their mind when they go in the next day and your application's right there. When you're writing those emails, there's a salutation, a body, and a signature. The word you is spelled Y-O-U. I is capitalized, and even your first initial and of both your first name and your last name is capitalized as well. Okay? We're trying to get into higher education. Let's make it look like we know what we're talking about. All right. So I'm going to turn it over now to Mrs. Turner, who's going to talk about the actual pieces of the college application.
I'm going to mess this one up. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see you guys. If your students' last names begin with A through G, that's in my part of the alphabet, and it's nice to see you. So Mr. Brett has given you guys a lot of great information about the process so far and how we handle things here at the school through SCORE on the students' end and on our end. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the application itself and all of those different parts that can feel so daunting when you're sitting there in those chairs thinking about your future, but it's not going to be as bad as you think. So the first part itself is the actual application. So depending on the schools that you're applying to, you might be applying on the school's website, or you may be applying through Common App in most cases. That's one easy way to apply where there's thousands of schools there. It's a great option when you fill out the body of the application really only one time. You may need to address some supplemental questions that come up for each school, but it saves a lot of time if the schools you are applying to are listed on Common App. That was what Mr. Brett was showing you, is linked to SCORE, so that is a great option if those schools are on the list that you're looking at. Another part of the application is going to be your high school transcript. We will get into a little bit more detail about that later, but that is sharing essentially your record here. We'll talk about things like the classes you've taken, the grades that you've earned. There's not anything on there regarding your attendance or behavior, anything like that. And it includes the GPA. For those of you guys that are filling out other information, that is available this year in Infinite Campus in the backpack section. You can refer to that to see your records if you're using that as you're filling out applications. Another piece of the puzzle is your test scores, and that might be the SAT or ACT. You're going to need to do a little bit of research to see whether the schools you're applying to are schools that are test optional or not. Certainly there's different circumstances where it makes a lot of sense to send a test score even if it is test optional, but we would recommend you looking up the schools that you're planning to attend to see what their policy is this year. We saw a big trend towards that throughout the pandemic, but we are getting a lot of announcements in our emails from schools that are changing back over to asking for test scores. All right, let's see. Another piece is going to be the secondary school report, which is something that is in the documents that we will send. That includes information about our school, the classes that are available, the size of our class, our GPA scale, and things like that, as well as counselor recommendations, which we will also get more into in a little bit. So these are pieces that we are sending for you through SCORE. Teacher and counselor recommendations are all coming from that program. The teacher ones, as you will see in a little bit, are things that you will request if you've not already done that. So you're going to be tracking that information in SCORE to see whether your requests have been received, whether the letters have been uploaded. It's a great tool to help you track and manage to see where things stand with that. Other requirements might include a resume. You're adding your activities to the section in Common App to list all of the things that you've done to make sure we're getting a comprehensive view of you and what you've been doing, as well as maybe outside letters of recommendation. For a lot of schools and for a lot of students, it may not be necessary, but if you're involved in an activity outside of the school here that there isn't a teacher or a counselor that can speak to, it may make sense for you to have an outside letter of recommendation from a club, an activity, something you're involved in. Those letters can be sent to Mr. Brett directly or to your counselor, and we can upload those on your behalf. Last up is finishing that process and paying and submitting the applications. So for those of you that are using Common App, that's where that will happen. For those of you that do want to be considered for a fee waiver, if you need one, you can see Mr. Brett in the Future Plans Center to get more information about that. All right, so we touched on this a little bit. Where can you apply? The first option is with Common App. So as we were saying earlier, there are over 1,000 participating schools. So that's a great tool that will save you a lot of time as you're putting all those basics in that most school applications are going to require. You can pay your application fees through there, track your information. And again, we do want to make sure that you get that Common App account connected to SCORE to really help just facilitate the process and let us get your documents where they need to go as fast as possible. We're depending on you guys to do your part of that so that we can send them as soon as they are ready. Let's see. We did say earlier that you can apply on college websites. There are some schools that are not available through Common App that may have a separate application for you to fill out that you'll need to address on their website. If you are applying to only one or two schools and you choose to do that, that is certainly an option if you're not applying to multiple schools that are in Common App. Requirements may be a little bit different as far as what information they're requesting, but generally it's a great time saver for you guys to be using Common App if you can. We are past September 1st at this point, so those applications are all available. Common App opened on August 1st, and on September 1st, a lot of those college websites are now available as well. So at this point, you should have access to any applications, so you can begin that process. All right. As far as filling out the applications, if you've not started yet, you're going to want to gather some information so you're ready to go. We do need to have our full name ready, and that's the name that matches your transcripts. We want to use the correct name on there so everything matches up. Social security number for Common App, as well as your mailing address, and I want to stress an appropriate personal email. So we're not going to use your school email for this, and we do want to say, like Mr. Brett was mentioning with punctuation and grammar and all those good things we want to be using when we're applying for colleges, we want to make sure that the email address you are using best reflects who you are right now. So if you have a deep, abiding love of Minecraft and maybe your email address reflects that or something else that doesn't speak to who you are right now, you might want to consider what email address you're going to use for this process. The number one thing that we need to say, though, beyond that is we want to make sure it's one you're going to check. We want to make sure that you are using that to check in so you can get information as they're making requests of you and you're not falling behind or missing out on opportunities. All right. GPA and test scores. So as I said earlier, a transcript is available this year in the backpack section of Infinite Campus. So as you are filling out the information about GPA, the classes you've taken in your grades and Common App, you can refer to that transcript that's available to you there. That's in the My Profile section in Score. You can find your GPA as well as at the bottom of your transcript. Let's see. Okay. We do want to make sure, as I said earlier, you're using your full name as it appears on your transcript. We definitely don't want any hiccups that are going to catch up your timeline and potentially cause some confusion if you're using a nickname on your application, but we have a different name on your transcript. So make sure that those do match. If you do have any questions about that or a unique situation, please come see your counselor and we can help you get some answers together with Mr. Brett. Again, we want to track all that information. This is your stuff, so we want to make sure you're writing down your passwords, your username, so when you do need to log in, that we are not texting people or trying to find answers or not having it in order to access what you need to quickly. All right. Next up, talking about the application is different types of admission. So as Mr. Brett, when he pulled up Score, you may have seen for schools, some of them listed different types of applications. And it's important you guys have a little bit of information about how these compare and what they mean so you can make the choice that is right for you. You will see some schools that have a rolling admission. So there is not a set application deadline for those schools. Some of us are thinking, okay, great, then I don't need to stress and get all of this done by November 1st. That might be true, but we also want to keep in mind with rolling schools, they are making decisions as applications come in. Most of the time, you're getting a decision within 8 to 12 weeks of that application, so you want to make sure that you're getting your stuff in sooner so you can be considered earlier on in the process, if that makes sense for you. Regular decision is going to have a specific application deadline. That's usually somewhere around January, and the decisions are all going to go out at the same time, right around March. So that's what a regular decision would be. Early action is going to also have a specific deadline. This is an option that would usually be due sometime in November, and this is going to give you a quicker decision. So it's really helpful because you may get your decision, by December. That could be really great for some of you who are stressing or trying to make plans and you really want an answer and you're ready now. That's a great option. Early action is non-binding. That means that you can apply to multiple schools early action and you're not held to saying, I'm only picking this one. There's no commitment involved. You are just getting your materials in sooner and you are making sure to let the school know that you do have a high level interest in hearing back whether they would accept you to their school or not. Okay? Last one is going to be early decision, so that also has a specific deadline in November, and that same turnaround, you're usually going to be hearing back in December. The big difference here is that early decision is binding. That means you're telling that school, if I get in, you accept me, I'm going to attend there no matter what. In order to submit an early decision application, you have to complete a contract with your parents or guardian signing, your school counselor, and yourself. So this is pretty serious business. We will get to questions at the end, if you want to give me 1 sec, okay. So that is something to consider if that is a choice that you are trying to make. Make sure you understand fully the repercussions. You've discussed this with your family. Finances have been discussed, and you know that this is a feasible option for you. I did skip over earlier up above under early action. There is something talking about restrictive early action. That is going to be similar. If you apply restrictive early action, that means that you cannot apply to any other schools early action or early decision. Okay, so that would be a higher level of commitment as well. Mr. Brett has a note here on the side about keeping track of your deadlines. I strongly urge you to make a plan. You don't have to do it all at once, but for a lot of us, it can be helpful to look at the deadlines and what your personal goal is to get these applications in and work backwards. There's a lot of steps throughout this process, including some of the steps through the school, like getting your letters of recommendation and transcripts that you have to account for to make sure that everything is ready and in the system ready to go in time for your deadline. So we would strongly suggest that you find a way that's going to work for you to write down those deadlines and make a plan for how you're going to tackle the process so that it doesn't all pile up at once. All right. When should I apply? So we talked a little bit about those types, and that may be part of your decision. Anywhere between now and November, before Thanksgiving is typically the goal. You do want to look at each college's specific deadlines. I know PSU, Penn State and Pitt are both rolling, but you want to apply by November 1. I had that, I knew that. So if you're applying and you see that it says rolling, that doesn't mean we want to wait. Especially for Penn State, if you're looking at main campus, we want those applications in by November 1. Same thing for Pitt. So let's kind of imagine that in your mind. Even if it says rolling, the goal would be November 1 for those. Many college-specific applications weren't available until September 1st, but they are available now. You guys should be fine on those. I would say we want to get our applications in by Thanksgiving. I know we've talked in the past about getting them in sooner to be considered for merit aid scholarships. That's usually by December 1st, right? So again, we want to be working to those deadlines. So if you are somebody who may be a good candidate for getting aid due to academics or athletics or music or art or whatever it may be that you're an exceptional performer in, we'd want to have those in to be considered earlier. That's going to give you a better chance because schools are already considering at that point. So we want to make sure those are done before December 1st. Again, another shout out to Mr. Brett and the Future Plan Center. If you guys want to work on these applications, if you have questions, you can absolutely go in there. There's a lot of unique situations that may apply to your individual scenario, and you might have a specific question. That would be a great time to come drop in and see Mr. Brett. He is available during study halls, lunches, during night zone. We do not want you guys coming out of class to see Mr. Brett. We want to make sure you're sticking to the times when you have open time in your schedule because those grades are important this year too. We don't want you to miss out on anything. Anything to add, Mr. Brett? Okay. I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Kolb to talk about your transcripts. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Ms. Turner. Hi, everyone. We okay? This is a lot of information, so take a deep breath. We'll get through this. We got this, okay? So I am going to talk about transcripts. So every school is going to require, for most part, all different things, right? Some may require some recommendation letters. Some may require some more personal information than others, but one thing that they're always going to ask for is your transcript. So you'll see here what is on the North Penn transcripts. We have grades from every class you've taken, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. 12th grade, you're going to see there obviously are not grades there. It is just the courses that you're enrolled in. So we want to just mention, if you decide to change your schedule after we submit your transcripts for you to schools, it is your responsibility to contact the schools and let them know that the classes have changed. When you submit a schedule change request to us, which are very limited at this point anyways, but if it does happen for one reason or another, we will not be contacting the schools to let them know that you switched out of your math class to go into a lower level math class, or vice versa into a higher level math class. Okay, so that's important to note. As of, I think it was about 2 years ago, we decided to start adding languages that were taken in 8th grade. So say you took French 1 in 8th grade, it's now on the transcript. You'll see it here. Sorry, I don't know how to use the little pointer, but the top left corner, you'll see that Spanish 1 is there. So if for some reason or another you do not see that on your official transcripts once they're released in a few days, let us know and we'll figure that out for you. What is also on the transcript is your cumulative GPA. On the bottom, you'll see that we have both the weighted and the non-weighted GPA and the total number of credits that you are that you have completed. So these won't include your credits from senior year. So if you look at it and you see 19 credits and you know you need 23, don't panic. This is just up until junior year of the credits that you've earned. What is not on the transcript is test scores. So you're not going to see your SAT scores or ACT scores, any community service opportunities that you were a part of, clubs or activities, any sports teams that you were a part of, and we also don't include class rank. So this was decided, I would say, probably like 4 or 5 years ago that North Penn no longer reports class rank. Okay, so your counselors can't email schools for you letting you know your rank. If you do know your rank for one reason or another, if you do send it to a school and they contact us asking to confirm that rank, we cannot give them that information. Okay, so this is just a closer look at what the transcript looks like. Like I said, we include 9th, 10th, 11th grade. Your actual grades are there with the credits that you received, and then 12th grade, the courses that you're enrolled in. Okay, so requesting a transcript. You all received an email from Mr. Brett on August 22nd at 8 a.m. I know it went out right at that time. And it was an email that included a document that was called Steps for Completing Your College Application, something on the lines of that. Within that document, you're going to have every one of these steps that we've talked about tonight. Okay, it's really going to help you out. And it's also going to include a lot of the forms that you have to fill out, along with the videos that we're showing tonight. They're all in there. So I highly advise when this is done and you get home and you're more relaxed and a little less stressed, go into that document and you're going to see everything there. But within that document, you're going to see a Google form that you have to use to request your transcripts to be sent to schools from your counselor. We will not know that John Smith wants us to send his transcripts to Penn State and Pitt and Duquesne unless John fills out the form. SCORE does not provide us with an update saying send John's transcripts on his behalf. So when you go in and request your transcripts, well, let me backtrack. Official transcripts are going to be available hopefully next week, okay? We're working on that. As soon as they are available, we will then start going in and seeing which students have already requested for transcripts to be submitted. We'll start working through them. On that day, we then have 15 school days, right? So 15 school days means 15 days your student was actually in the building that you were here. So if there's a day off, that doesn't count. But 15 school days, we have to complete your request for us to send your transcript to the schools that you inform us of. Okay, so we will be sending out an email probably when official transcripts are going to be uploaded. And then if you are already on our list to submit it, you'll see within those 15 days that we upload it. Okay, and then this is a video. Why is it not working? Oh, next. Sorry, I was hitting the center button. Okay, so this is what the transcript release form looks like. You will go in, check off to record your email, and then the very important first step is no transcripts will be sent until all the schools are listed on SCORE under applying to. Okay, so that's the first step I believe Mr. Brett went through, where you go in and you choose the scores that you're applying to. You also are going to have to go in and check off that you completed the FERPA release within SCORE, and that you also give us permission through North Penn to send your transcripts as well. So as you go through this form, you'll see all the required information that we need. And you'll put the application deadline, name of the college, how you applied, the application date when it's due, and it will give you an opportunity to do this up to 5 schools. If you apply to more than 5 schools, that's okay. You can still go in and resubmit the form for the schools that you've added. You also don't need to do this in if you do it on a Monday, you can submit more schools later in that week. It doesn't have to be a one-day thing. The form will reopen for you. The form can only be open from your North Penn email address. So this goes back to what Mr. Brett started out this entire presentation on, that you students have to do this, okay? Parents are not going to be able to get into the form and request that we do this on their child's behalf. It has to come directly from the student. All right, so next, requesting a teacher recommendation letter. So by now, I hope that all of you have spoken to your teachers and requested those letters. If you have not, that's okay. We still have time. Don't panic. But I would highly recommend that tomorrow or Friday, what day is today? Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow or Friday, you get into school and you talk to those teachers. You're going to want to talk to them in person, okay? This goes back to on being an adult. It's scary, I know, some of you don't want to go up and approach your teachers, but it's something you have to do. talk to them. Say, I enjoyed your class, and this is why I think you'd be a good person to represent me. Are you willing to write me a letter? After you do that, you're going to want to go into SCORE and find your teacher and within the system. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we just want to make sure that it's a teacher of a class where you've received a good grade, right? So I know that kind of sounds like common sense, but it's true. You'd want to go in and make sure it's a teacher that you have rapport with and that you also received a good grade in their class. Okay, sorry, I thought we had a video on how to go. We do? Oh, there it is. Okay, so this is how you're going to do it. You go under My Colleges, Application Documents, and then you're going to scroll down and see New Request. Once you click on that, you'll be able to search a teacher's name, okay? So all current North Penn teachers are in here. General recommendation is what we recommend. And I'll explain that in a second. And then you'll just want to put a subject and a message to your teacher. A nice message, please let me know if you need additional information. Thank you so much for taking the time to write my letter of recommendation, okay? Going back to the general letter, there are those two options there, that someone can write a specific letter to a specific school. So we don't recommend that unless for some reason, say, that the teacher went to Pitt, you're applying to Pitt, and they have strong ties to Pitt, and they want to talk on your behalf. Other than that, you're going to want to click on general letter, and then a teacher will write a general letter that will go to all of the schools that you apply to. Any teacher that may have retired that you asked last year, and if you can't, you won't be able to find them, I don't think, right? Mr. Brett has it. So Mr. Brett has those teachers' email information. You can contact him, and he will get you in contact with those teachers. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Cantor.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Cantor. I am new to F40, but not new to North Penn. I've been here since 2012. I've had students every year go through the senior process and the college application process. I was just in a different role where I reached outside of the home office. So although I might be new to F40, I'm not new to North Penn or to having seniors on my caseload. So I just wanted to introduce myself. And I am H to N. So as far as a counselor letter of recommendation, we are more than happy to write a letter of recommendation from you. Obviously, there's about 300 and some of you to one of us, so we do just ask for a little bit of patience and some information about you when we're writing the letter. So do you need one? Not all schools require it. It doesn't mean you still shouldn't ask us for one, and even if it's optional, it doesn't mean we still can't send it to boost your resume. So again, you'll see that in SCORE. It will let you know whether it's optional or not, and it'll also let you know when we send it to. So a lot of times, I think the one slide did say, once you request the letter from the teacher, the transcript from us, the letter of recommendation from your counselor, there isn't anything more you have to do. I know sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking. Did it go through? Did they see it? Did they miss mine amongst the 100 that they are writing? When we upload things in SCORE, the date and the person that did it will be there. So again, you're always welcome in your home office, but I do want to let you know that there is a little bit of a easy access for you because you should be in SCORE on a pretty consistent basis, just kind of updating and following along. And again, making sure that we are uploading your documents, and you'll see that in there. How do you request it? It's very similar to what you just saw for the transcripts. There's going to be a Google form. It is in the steps to applying for college. You did get it in that email August 22nd. I know I have it, and I'm sure the other two counselors do. I have it in my tagline for my signature when I sign off. So it'll say my name, my letters that I cover from last name. It'll say my phone number, and then underneath that, it'll literally have the link that says steps to applying to college. All right, so we're trying to make it as accessible to you because we are getting a lot of questions, and we want to make sure we kind of direct you and funnel you to one spot so that way you don't have to worry, how do I get this answer? So when you get to the letter, that document that's attached, like I said, to my tagline in the signature, steps to applying. It's about halfway down. You'll see each of us there in blue. We try and make it stand out. You'll click on ours. So ours all funnel into our own spreadsheet. So that way we don't have to find you. You have found us. If you make a mistake, obviously we'll notice it and we'll take care of you. So this is one from last year, similar questions. You're going to need to put your name, your student ID number down. And then you're going to want us to let us know where you're applying, give us some idea of why, what you think you're going to be studying. We also kind of want you to brag about yourself. Give us some positive adjectives. Well, how do you describe yourself? How do others describe you? It's okay to, compliment yourself. Be comfortable with that. That's our job. We want to make sure that we represent you well. Some of you might have a hard time remembering all the things you've done over the years, so I would take a minute before you go in and fill this out. You probably did volunteer and maybe didn't know it. Maybe you were part of a club, part of the community. Maybe mom and dad drug you out somewhere or said, we're going to donate clothes for this fund, or picking up trash someday. There's more to it. Maybe you were on honor roll all through middle school. Maybe you wrestled in middle school, but you don't do it anymore. Those are all things that made you who you are, and you were part of your community. So I would make sure you just take a second with probably mom and dad to kind of reflect back, because if you haven't made a resume yet for yourself, it's probably going to be a little overwhelming to remember all the things, or you might think, I didn't do as much as I thought, or I don't have anything to put down in that section. I'm sure you do, but it's going to take a little bit of recall. So if you already have a resume, take a look at it. And if you haven't, I would start writing one for yourself. It doesn't have to be anything formal, but that's what's going to help us build who you are. All right. The essays. If your student is here, they hopefully have already participated in their semester English classes and are keeping up with the deadlines. For those of you that are here that are seniors, can you nod your head? Have you already started? Have your teachers asked you to submit them? All right, so it doesn't matter what semester English class. You could be in contemporary lit, you could be in women's voices, you could have those classes the second half of the year and be in Brit Lit, you could be in English 101. All of them are working on this essay. The teachers have given them the topics to choose from and have encouraged them, even if you don't know exactly what you want the final output to be, even if you are overwhelmed and don't know where to start. We did have a jump start 2 weeks before school started, where we did have one of our English teachers come in. They really just encourage you to kind of pick a topic, throw things on the paper, and let them help you. Organize it, fix it, edit it, peer edit it, all those kind of things. So if you're like, I haven't started, or I'm really having trouble starting, that was one of the takeaways I had from the jump start, was that they just want you to pick one, give it a go, and then let them help you. And then I believe I'm done, and Mr. Brett will be back.
So earlier in the presentation, I mentioned about test scores and test optional, and as we talked about, Mrs. Turner talked about how there are many schools going back to requiring the SATs or the ACTs. Do your due diligence and check to see what the schools are looking for, if it is required or not. My general rule for test optional schools, and when I talk about like Penn State, Pitt, Temple, schools that are very good schools but are not considered by society as elite schools, or think they are elite schools, my general rule is, depending on the major, if you are not within 100 points of their average, not their range, their average, which can be found on Google, Score, the college website, I would not submit your SAT. For the higher end schools that consider themselves, or society considers them elite, we want to shrink that down to about 50%. If you have questions, pop in, see me, we'll have a conversation. Again, major dependent on some of those schools. Test dates are up here. We talked about it earlier. We have this weekend. I think that's wrong. No, it's not. I apologize. This weekend is not up here. So if you want to take the October one, there's still available registration for you as well. So this is a program that is attached to the colleges that are listed here, and it is part of the application. So when we say that there's a November 1 deadline, this counts as well. What this is, it used to be called the SRAR, so you might hear me say that. It changed this year. The STARS, which is the Self-Reported Transcript and Academic Record System, puts every kid, no matter the school, on the same playing field, because you have North Penn High School with a weighted 6.0 GPA. You have Wissahickon High School with a weighted 4.0 GPA. Methacton, pardon me, I'll hit puberty soon. Methacton at one point was on a weighted 8.0 GPA. And those are the schools that just connect, they just border us. This is not the rest of the state or the country. So what this program does, it forces our students to input their transcript line by line with the course, the grade, the course, the level, the grade, the credit. So English 9, honors if you took honors. If you took HP, it's also honors. The credit, which or the grade would be hopefully a good grade, and then the credit would be 1, and you go down line by line. There is a middle school section, and the middle school section will only populate accurately if you put August of 2022 as your start date. In the middle school section, you'll put very specific courses. Any language you took in middle school, which is on your transcript, and any math courses, Algebra 1 or above, that you took before you started 9th grade. So if you took Algebra 1 in 8th grade, you put that as well. If you took anything higher than that in 7th or 8th grade, good for you, you put that as well on there as well. It will connect. You can add your schools. When you go to put Penn State in, it will say it's not connecting. Don't panic. It will connect, and you'll be able to connect it once you submit your application to Penn State. Okay? Again, this is also due on November 1 when your other applications are due, the other parts of the application. Now, we talked about letters of recommendation. We talked about council letters of recommendation. Schools give us grace in that deadline, about a week to 10 days. So if your application is in and your letters are not, don't panic. That being said, if you requested your teacher, let's say today or tomorrow or around this time or even earlier, and it's October 15th, and you have a November 1 deadline, you have every right to shoot a very nicely worded email. Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, just wanted to see if you need anything from me for my letter of recommendation. As a reminder, I have a November 1 deadline. If it gets to November 27th, 28th, 29th, and there's still nothing in there, you can come see me, and I will do my best to follow up with that teacher and say, hey, just remember that we got November 1 deadlines. They know, they'll get it done, but they're also teaching 6 classes a day and doing that as well. They will get it done. Please be patient. Please be polite in your emails, okay? Reviewing the steps. Complete your applications. Connect Common App and score. Submit your SAT scores or ACT scores separately on their websites if it's required or if you are submitting your scores. I can't see that. And then review the college websites for any additional information. STARS or maybe an interview that might be needed, not necessarily really required anymore, but make sure that you're following that. If we have any student athletes in here who are looking to play at Division I or Division II level, you need to complete what is called or create an account on the NCAA Eligibility Center. What they do is make sure you're academically eligible to play sports at Division I and Division II level. Once you do that, it is a $100 fee because we all know the NCAA is a nonprofit organization. You must come down to me or email me, hey, Mr. Brett, I just completed the NCAA Eligibility Center. Can you submit my transcript? And I'll take care of that for you. Scholarship resources, scholarship opportunities. We have a Google Doc with scholarship opportunities. It was on the bottom of my email earlier today, and every time I send it out to a non-North Penn School District employee or email address, a pop-up would come like, would you like to share this? And it just got really annoying, so I took it off. I'm going to put it on the steps to apply to College Doc later tomorrow. But scholarships, here's how they work. 3 different ways. 1, the college gives you a scholarship for your merit. Again, as Mrs. Turner said, either your academics, your music, or your athletics. Or music and art, I apologize. So what'll happen is, and there's 3 ways within this part. Congratulations, you've been accepted to the class of 2030. Sounds scary. Class of 2030. You've also been awarded, I'll call it the presidential scholarship for X amount of dollars over X amount of years, right? Great, that's the one you want. Second way, congratulations, yada, yada, yada. Here is a link to the scholarships that you qualify for based on your application. That one's really good too. Third one, a little more work on you. Congratulations, you've been accepted. Here's a link to all of our scholarships. Essentially, you need to go through and look to see which ones you qualify for and then apply for those. The second way that other scholarships work are website-based scholarships that are very similar to the third way of the application, or third way of the school. You go in, you fill out your information, and there's several ways. One, they could populate based on the information you put in, or you're just sifting through. And the third way, I get emails constantly from college applications. From scholarship corporations. They will be on this website, this Google Doc that I share out, okay? Additionally, we have a program here at North Penn High School called Senior Awards. Those applications for those awards will be February-ish emailed to seniors, all right? So you might say, oh, my neighbor or my older sibling won an award. Do we still have those? Yes, we do. February is the time you'll be emailed about those. Some important dates. Back to school night is the 25th. Information will be emailed out about that in the next week or so. SATs, we talked about that. Registration deadline the 19th. The PACAC College Fair, over 190 schools will be here in the gyms on October 9th. SATs again November 8th. It's a little late, but we still offer it obviously for our seniors. And then October 1st, the FAFSA opens. The FAFSA beta testing is currently open. I do have a link for that if anybody really wants to be one of the first ones. I'm not sure I would like that because they've messed up the past 2 years. 2 years ago, it was supposed to be October 1st. It came out on December 31st. Last year, October 1st came out December 1st. So I don't think I'd want to be the ones for the beta testing. If you really want to be a daredevil with your finances and your kids' financial aid, feel free, let me know. But I would hold off till at least it's open to the public. So we talked about the Future Plan Center being open. And as I say that, I got pulled out of the building tomorrow. I'm at another building in a virtual training, so I apologize. I'm telling all these kids to come down, but my boss sent me to another building tomorrow. But Friday, I'll be back. Night zone, study halls, no school period 1, lunch study, no school period 8, 7th lunch and no school period 8, and after school. I really don't want to have a student come in like October 25th and say, oh, sorry, I was really busy. And I look at your schedule. You had 7th lunch and no school period 8. And you were going home playing video games or whatever. Please come down and utilize the Future Plan Center. Besides myself, there's a gentleman named Mr. Fry, who is our internship coordinator. He's available to talk about things that we might be able to get you involved in, even if it's a job shadowing day. Because as I mentioned, college is really expensive. Let's make sure it's something you want to do. If it's a course we don't have here and we can get you out there into the world, even for a day, 2 things are going to happen. 1, it's going to further your passion for that. Great, that's awesome. Even just as good, if not better, wow, that was awful. I never want to do that again. Okay? That is really good too, because then you're not wasting any money in college for that particular major. The other gentleman is Mr. McLarnon. He works the Career Work Study Program. Some of you are probably in that. That's when you leave school to go out into the community somehow and either work or kind of do a job either at elementary school or something along those lines, NPTV, and it's every day after school. Parents and students, I am available for family meetings, so the student must be there, your child must be there, Wednesdays after school, 2:15, 3:15, and 4:15. I need you to email me to schedule something. You cannot just show up. because there are times where I don't have anything, so I'll come in regular time and leave at regular time. If you'd like to meet, please shoot me an email and we will schedule something, okay? Frequently asked questions, and we will take questions in a second. Frequently asked questions, our weighted GPA scale is 6. So a lot of schools, so what schools mean by a weighted 4.0, what they'll do is they'll calculate our GPA into a weighted 4.0. That's what the STARS does. It spits out a calculation of a weighted 4.0 GPA. I forgot to mention that all students are on equal playing field. There was a student years back, she had a 5.76, and at Penn State she had a 4.15 weighted 4.0 GPA. Now, it's based on how she got to that 5.76, what grades, what APs, what honors, and what courses, and the higher grades and those higher level courses. So just because you have a 5.76 doesn't mean it's going to equally be a 4.15, okay? When can I fill out the FAFSA? We talked about that October 1st. I will try to have a FAFSA completion night. Last year we used a gentleman from Gwen and Mercy University. He was phenomenal. I'll try to get him back here. CSS profile is for private schools, so they'll want to do a even further in-depth look of your finances. I'm sure we all love that, but only certain schools will need that. That is through College Board, but it's a additional piece of College Board. Again, a nonprofit organization who loves taking people's money. And then the FIA is the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Association. I have documents for students for financial aid in my office from FIA. If you need them, you can reach out. And they also do a $1,500 grant to all incoming freshmen in certain states. So Pennsylvania, obviously, and then certain states around the country, except for New Jersey. I don't know why that doesn't connect. You can contact us this way. Again, this information will be sent out. Okay, before I open it up to questions, I recently watched the Eagles Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs last year recently, and I saw this thing and I loved it. They were playing, they were all hyped up. I forget who it was. I think it was Burke, Aaron Burke. He goes, deep breath on 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do that. All right? Everybody is kind of sitting here on the edge of their seat. They're worried, they're scared. So we're going to be the birds right now. We're going to take a deep breath on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. It's not that scary. We're here to help. Okay? I'm opening up to general questions. If you have a specific question about your own child, we will be available after this. But general questions, I'll come to you. I'll hear the question. I'll say it aloud, and then we'll go from there.
I have a microphone. No, I can bring
Love
this
it.
around.
Go ahead.
For the transcript release, you said it was 15 days. You guys were moving quickly, so I didn't get a chance to see. But do you have to apply to the college first to get the transcript release?
Great question. So, should you wait to apply to the school before submitting the transcript release form? And the answer is no. If you have an November 1 deadline, you need to get us that transcript release form. I believe it's October 4th. If I look at the calendar right, we have the dates and deadlines for us at the bottom of the steps to submit your college applications. So that you know, okay, I have a November 1 deadline. Mrs. Cole, Mrs. Turner, Mrs. Cantor need it by this date.
Sorry, I'm blocking.
Because it may take us that day. We might be able to get it out that day. But there are a lot of kids who have a lot of November 1 deadlines. It's going to take us some time to get those done. That's why we say that. Please don't come to us on October 31st and say, I forgot to submit the form. Listen, we'll do everything we can. But you guys are seniors in high school. Some of you are 18 years old. And some of you will be 18 years old very soon. Start taking accountability for yourself. Start doing what we need done so that we can get all your information out at a timely manner. Question over there. Okay.
Do you want the microphone? Okay, I'll repeat it for you. What's your question?
My English teacher hasn't started doing
What?
the essay stuff yet.
What English are you on?
I'm in Contemporary American Lit Honors.
Okay, so he said his English teacher in Contemporary American Lit Honors has yet to start essays for the Common App. They will. So.
And listen, that's, English teachers are great for grammatical stuff. And they've all been to college, some of them a very long time ago, including myself. But I will read your essays as well. I will read it for content. You do not want me reading it for grammatical stuff. Okay, I put a comma every 6 to 8 words. I'll read it for content. Yes, this is exactly what college is looking for. Hey, maybe we move this around. What do you mean by this, etc. From the grammatical standpoint, we can talk about, hey, let's take it to your teacher after that, okay, if your teacher hasn't started in the classroom. Let's take 2 more, this one and 1 more, and then we'll go from there. Great question. So the question is, when talking about either early action or early decision, does it matter that we don't have the financial information yet? Early action, it does not matter because you're not binding. Early action, you're just telling the school, I really want to go here, but I'm not ready to throw my money at the school yet. So, no, that one doesn't matter. Early action, yes. I'm sorry, early decision, yes. Early decision must, in my mind, it has to be your first, your second, and your third choice. Because if you get in there, you have to go there. I've been at North Penn High School in some way, shape, or form for 17 years, 17 of the fall semesters. I interned here 17 years ago, and I remember being at this event. The Phillies were playing in the World Series, or they were trying to win the East. And I was sitting over there, and I remember actually giving updates to Mr. Bill Travers about the Phillies. I've had 2 students get out of early decision contracts in 17 years. Unless it is your first, second, and third school, I don't recommend applying early decision because we don't know the financials. They might give you an early read. You might be able to call the financial aid office and say, hey, listen, my child's considering applying early decision. Would you be willing to give me an early read? They have the right to say no, but sometimes they may say yes. That being said, there are schools that are willing to tell you, and they've told me, that they will accept a certain percentage of their of their freshman class through early decision. One of those schools happens to be Villanova University. They will accept up to 60% of their freshman class through early decision. So if Villanova is one of your top schools, let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Mom and dad, parents, grandparents, whoever is your guardian, talk to them as well. Okay? There are some caveats to that piece. That's a great question. 1 more, and then we'll...
Well, Mr. Brett, we had one over here too a second ago.
2 more. Go ahead.
Okay.
So dual enrollment courses, if your child is taking a dual enrollment course at the current moment, they received an email from me last week asking them to provide, maybe it was this week, it's been a long week, providing me their transcript, their unofficial transcript from wherever they are taking the course, and we will get it on the transcript after we start submitting transcripts, so that we submit them together.
Somebody asked over here if they are filling out the Common App with all the information from their transcript, asking the courses they took, the grade, everything, do they still have to request a transcript to be sent from us? And the answer is yes. So, sorry, you're right, it is more work, but the reason is we are sending your official transcript. So, not that any of you would lie, but if you put in there, I got a B in pre-calc, the official transcript that you're requesting from us will confirm if you got that B or not. Correct? Okay, thank you.
One more thing. When you're submitting your GPA, or when you're putting your GPA inputting into college applications, you can use whichever one you want. I recommend using the weighted to show how you've done in higher level courses, but they're going to see both on the transcript. And they're probably going to create it into a weighted 4.0 themselves. So you can use whichever one you want, but I recommend the weighted, all right? Again, students, please feel free to stop down at the Future Plan Center. I'm not there tomorrow, I apologize. And families, if you want to come schedule a meeting with me, shoot me an email, we'll get together. Thank you all for coming out. If you have specific questions, we will be down here for a little bit to answer some questions. Take care.